Meeting will be now called to order. Please, a reminder, turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate. First, we have the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Libby, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next, roll call. Mr. Treasurer, would you please give roll call?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Seat A, Chucky Sheremy.
Here.
Seat B, Rodney R. Gisclair.
Here.
Seat C, Jimmy Lafont.
Here.
Seat D, Rodney J. Gisclair.
Here.
Seat E, Curtis Pierce.
Here.
Seat F, Larry Griffin.
Here.
Seat G, John Mellison. Here. Seat H, Mike Colley.
Here.
Seat I, Chris Colley.
Here.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Melisson. Next, we have the swearing in of Mr. Rodney R. Gisclair as board member, seat B. Mr. Bryce and Mr. Gisclair.
I, Rodney R. Gisclair,
I, Rodney R. Gisclair,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of this state,
of this state,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge and perform all duties
all duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as a member of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission,
as a member of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission,
seat B,
CB,
to the best of my ability and understanding,
to the best of my abilities and understanding,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah. All right, next we have adopt a resolution in memory of Mr. Perry J. Gisclair. Mr. Chesson will read a resolution.
Okay. Whereas the members of Board of Commissioners of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission have learned with deep regret and sorrow of the death of Mr. Perry J. Gisclair on September 12, 2019. And whereas Perry proudly served the people of the 10th Ward of Lafourche Parish as a councilman for 8 years with the Lafourche Parish government and a member of the Port Commission since 2007, served as president from February 2013 to January 2019, and in February 2019 began serving as secretary. And whereas through his contributions, he always gave back to the community, and because of him, we always believe in Santa. And whereas it is the desire of the members of the Board of Commissioners of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission to express to Perry's wife, Mrs. Libby, family and friends, their deep and sincere sympathies during this time of grief and sorrow. And therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission that the members thereof do express to Mrs. Libby, family and friends, their sincere and heartfelt regret and condolences at the death of Perry. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be transmitted to Mrs. Libby and family as a small symbol of love and respect from the members of the Board of Commissioners of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission.
All right. I need a motion.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Melisson, second by Mr. Pierce.
Y'all want to do a unanimous second?
Unanimous.
Unanimous second. All right, any discussion? Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. All right.
We have a plaque to present to the family as well. We will have a signed copy of this put in here, but we wanted to show you what we.
You want me to leave y'all over to the corner? or-
No, I got it.
keep it, and as soon as the signature is done, we'll immediately after the meeting. Thank you all.
Okay, next we have the election of Board of Secretaries. Right. President's opening up for motion.
I have a motion, Mr. President.
This is just to make nominations.
Nominations?
Right.
I'll make a nomination for Commissioner Mike Colley. Or nominate Mike Colley.
I second.
Okay, I got a motion, I got
A nomination.
nomination for Mr. Mike Colley by Mr. Curtis Pierce and Larry Griffin. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. Now we have to do a roll call vote
That's right.
for the nominate, for Mr. Colley.
And then seat by seat, we just name, we
Right.
say the name of who we want to be, who our vote is.
Okay,
Seat A, Chucky Shermy.
Mike Colley.
Seat B, Rodney R. Gisclair.
Mike Colley.
Seat C, Jimmy LaFont.
Mike Cully.
Seat D, Rodney J. Gisclair.
Mike Colley.
Seat E, Curtis Pierce.
Mike Colley.
Seat F, Larry Griffin.
Mike Cully.
Seat G, John Mellison. Mike Colley. Seat H, Mike Colley.
Mike Colley.
That's a lot of Mike Colleys in a row. Seat I, Chris Colley.
Mike Colley.
That concludes the roll call, Mr. President.
Okay, we have all in favor, motion passed. Mr. Colley, you're now the secretary.
Here you go, buddy.
There you go, Sergeant.
Well, there you go. I appreciate the vote of confidence, and I'll perform the duties to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. All right, moving on. Approved minutes for September 11, 2019 regular meeting and September 25th, 2019 special meeting. I need a motion.
I'll move.
Moved by Mr. Rodney Gisclair Sr., second by Mr. Rodney R. Gisclair. Any discussions? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have Director's Report. Mr. Chasson, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. President. First is our Northern Expansion projects, and the first project there is Northern Expansion Slip C, 400-foot east, Part 2 bulkhead, PCO and Associates. Joe.
Yes, Sea Level Construction is a contractor. We gave them a conditional notice to proceed. They've been doing site prep work. And they've also purchased material and prepping and coating steel. They will begin mobilizing next week on the job site to start driving the steel sheet pile, and then the job is really going to start.
Okay. Any questions? Joe. Okay, Northern Expansion, Slip C, 1,100-foot east bulkhead.
Yes, we advertised and accepted bids on September the 18th at 2 p.m. Shaver's Widow Construction was the low bidder in the amount of $6,539,836 even, and we recommend that you award the contract base bid to them.
Okay, and that's later on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, any questions? Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Minor Sheremy Senior Road Paving, Angelette Piciola. Mr. Larry Piciola.
Yes, this this project is complete. Later on in the agenda, you have the substantial completion for review and approval. We're working on change order number 1. As of now, if all the numbers hold, we'll have a deduct of $112,346.30.
Okay.
And that deduct, Mr. Knight, that deduct was for being under the bid?
Right.
Okay.
Being under bid.
Good.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next is the Coastal Wetlands Park, and Thad on Monday evening explained to y'all a bunch of things that were going on, but you can see on the screen that's in Old Rapalays Hole has been filled in as part of mitigation, and we're building a coastal wetlands park in there in phases. This first phase is building a tidal creek. Our own equipment and personnel has done what you see so far, that creek that's kind of going through there. And we've also began filling in some fill areas that are going to be for future parking. Dave, you want to talk about the fill areas?
Yeah, we have an area that we're going to have to dredge anyway, so what we're doing is taking that material by truck, dry, putting it for future parking. We have to dredge that material anyway, so we actually saving a good bit of money by moving it that way. And the next project that we're doing, we're going after funding as well, and we're going to be installing some viewfinders in the future for people to be able to see some of the animals and creatures and plants that are growing in that wetland.
Yep. Any questions on the wetland?
Yes. On moving the material to the parking lot area, how much more time you think we have left to complete that project?
The high tide's been making it rough on them on putting the material there, because it's, the wetter it is, the harder it is to push out there. But I'm thinking about another 30 days or so.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions on that? Okay, thank you. Moving on to airport projects. Joe Wheeler, our airport director, is at another meeting as part of his duties as the president of Louisiana Airport Managers Association, so Davey will handle this.
Yes, the airport aircraft operations for September are 2,529 operations. Passengers were 10,763, and vehicle count was 17,083 for the month of September, which is about our normal numbers. Next project would be the airfield drainage improvement. Barney Talbot is the contractor on that project. They actually started Monday, mowed in, and they're working on the southern end, working their way towards the northern section to improve some draining on the east side of the road. Next item that I have is further on, under construction and development, consider adopting a resolution for airport capital improvement program. That's something that is required by FAA that we do yearly. It's a 6-year plan on construction projects that you have. In those 6 years, we're actually going to be asking for about $11.6 million of grants. So we would recommend approving that. Joe worked on putting that package together as well.
And then we have the Airport Connector Road and Bridge Project. Pisciola and Associates, Joe.
Yes, this is the project, the big project. It's partially federally funded, state funded, and parish and port funded. It's going to connect Highway 3235 to the airport with a lift span bridge. So we've completed the traffic study data collection. We're working on traffic study analysis and modeling now. We've had a lot of meetings with DOTD, Louisiana DOTD, who's kind of like the sponsor for the federal government in this project. We're having a lot of meeting with various agencies for permitting. That's going to happen later this week and next week. We've scheduled mitigation or biologists to come in and look at wetland delineation sometime next week. We'll also start cultural resources study sometime next week, and we're also tentatively scheduled to start the borings, the geotechnical borings in by Lafourche towards the end of next week. So we're working with Harbor Police on that to get that scheduled. So there's a tight time frame to have all of the design document and the permitting done. We have to have all of that done and ready to go for bid by September of 2020. That's the goal, but with a lot of help, we'll get there.
Yep. And we also have a meeting with the appraisers on tomorrow, actually, and they'll begin that process as well for that property between 3235 and LA1. There was an item, a cooperative endeavor agreement with the parish that came up on the agenda last night. It was delayed until either a special meeting happens before the next council meeting on October 22nd, or it'll happen no later than October 22nd. For their approval, they have to take care of some things on their end in terms of council and administration, making sure everything is right for them. But that cooperative endeavor agreement basically says that the Port Commission, it's an agreement between the Port Commission and the Lafourche Parish Council to each put up about $4.6 million to match to the $16.4 million in federal dollars we received to build the bridge. And then we'll take those dollars and go to the state capital outlay and the parish will apply for a capital outlay request by November 1st for $9.3 million. And that'll complete that $35 million project and put all those funds together. So that's a true collaborative effort amongst numerous agencies from the federal level all the way down to the local level. But ultimately, our community is going to get a $35 million project done and safe and better access between LA1 and 3235 for the Galliano community. So, all right, any
Questions?
questions? All right, thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to other projects. South Lafourche Levee District, LA1 Realignment and Flood Wall Project, Picciola and Associates. That's you again, Joe.
Get you some exercise.
Coming to the end, right?
Yes. So we give them substantial completion. It is complete. They were finishing up putting roadway signs and seeding on the dirt portions. So at the next levee district meeting, we'll be giving them substantial completion in the gate. Last week we did an operational test with the levee district personnel, took the guardrails out, closed the gate, and demonstrated it all like a practice run for them. So everything went well.
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank
All right.
you, Mr. Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Next is the Section 203 Feasibility Study, GIS Engineering. John.
All right, we submitted the final answers to the Corps' questions about a month ago. We're still waiting for them to review it with the Assistant Secretary of the Army.
Yep. And those, we anticipate getting them at any time. It could be by the end of this week. It could be next week. We hope not later than that, so we can get things moving. There's some action on the district level as well with the Corps. Bryce and Joe will be having meetings with them in terms of what's going on that front. So, Bryce, you want to update on that?
Right, so one of the things we had to do for the 203 analysis was some real estate work, got some documents approved by the Corps that was submitted to the Corps. They're reviewing those and trying to get everything hemmed up to give us a bit of the vision.
Yep.
Washington.
Yep. Okay. Questions?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, John. Bell Pass Tower upgrades. April.
Good morning. The substructure design and engineer is ongoing, and we expect those designs by October 31st, and then we'll put the project out for bid.
Brief. Thank you, April. All right. Next is the update from Restore or Retreat. Ms. Simone Maloz, thank you for being here today.
I'll take April's time. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for inviting me here today. I mostly wanted to give you an update on something that Chet and I have been working on. As you may know, a couple weeks ago, we traveled to Washington, D.C., and we had several meetings at the White House and a couple of other congressional offices and committee staff to talk about GOMESA revenue sharing or offshore royalty revenue sharing. And so there are restricted uses of that here on the federal level, but also here in Louisiana. And so here in Louisiana, all that money goes to coastal protection, restoration, or infrastructure. And about 10 years or so ago, Mary Landrieu passed a bill that would give us an increase in what we think is our fair share of those revenues. And those monies have been coming to the state for the past 2 years or so. But there are at least 3 pieces of legislation, federal legislation right now, that looks to increase that fair share, which, of course, again, here in Louisiana, all goes to coastal. So Congressman Steve Scalise, Congressman Graves and Richmond have a bill, and then also Senator Senator Cassidy as well. And so we are looking at what those, how much money those bills might increase those dollars. We're working with LSU and ULL on a study to look at that. But basically, that means more money comes to our community for the things that we need. And so we will be traveling up again to Washington in about 2 weeks or so, and we have some selected stakeholders that are coming with us, and we have more meetings with different congressional offices in Texas, Mississippi, other members than just our Louisiana delegation to talk about how much that revenue sharing will impact us here in coastal Louisiana. So we would love to have somebody from the port join us. It's really important that we have not just environmental folks like us, but also to have industry representatives as well. And I think that made our first trip successful, to have Chet and Shell and some other folks like that with us, all in the same room, talking about how important it is for us. So that's something that we're looking forward to working on for the rest of the year. At Restore Retreat, we're still doing our usual project work. We're looking forward to Caminada Back Barrier 1 and 2 coming online. They're going to start some of the Terrebonne Barrier Island work very soon. And we've been really involved in the Nichols Coastal Center and some of the fun coastal things that have been happening at Nichols right up the road. They have some exciting things coming online, and we are excited to be part of that. I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all might have.
Any questions for Simone?
How much is the funding for the 2 upcoming projects? What's the projected amounts of those projects?
For which one?
Caminada Pass?
So those are QIPR projects. So those are relatively small. I hate to say small, but I think they're maybe together in about the neighborhood of, I think they were about 15 apiece,
that's right.
right? And so there was a tremendous cost savings by doing those together, by mobilizing just that one time to do the project and using a shared sediment source. But it was really important. That was the first time that that funding source ever combined projects like that, so they could maximize their money. So it was a tremendous cost savings, but it's also a really good business move, frankly, and it allowed them to almost get a whole nother project out of that.
And the Barrier Island, Terrebonne Bay, which actually includes enhancements to West Bell Pass, is over $100 million project.
And those, that, again, they call that bundling, which is, so they bundled 3 projects, and again, we'll use a singular sediment source to do those. It is West Bell Pass is included in that, too. And so that's going to be exciting to see start. Also, it's an important story to tell because next year will be the 10th anniversary of the oil spill, and there's going to be a lot of people talking about that. And it's nice, it's going to be really nice to be able to show our work and what we're doing since then.
Well, thank you so much, and if he's available, we'll send him for you.
Yeah, I'll take anybody.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Simone.
Okay, next we have, you finished with your report?
Yes, we have public comment.
Okay, next we have public comment. Any public comment?
Public.
I know we have a couple
Candidates haven't spoken.
Candidates that
Mr.
haven't spoken
Yakuzo,
yet.
Ms. Holloway, either of y'all want to speak? I know y'all haven't spoken here, so
Sure.
either one of y'all.
As she's coming up, I know there's several other candidates for other, I recognize that candidate for Senator Mike Fazie's here. Thank you for attending. And Parish Council, District 9, Mr. Lorraine is here. Thank you for attending. And Parish President, Mr. Joe Fertitta, candidate, is here as well. And Reggie Bagalaw's back there, candidate for State Rep. Thank you all for attending. And then I know Craig Jacuzo
He's gonna come and
is going to
talk.
come up and speak after. So thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here and quite interesting to note what you do and also to meet you this morning. I am Sandy Holloway, and I am a BESE board member, which is the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education on the state level, and it is an elected position. I'm in District 3, which encompasses 15 parishes, and Lafourche is one of them. So I've been working very hard. I do have an opponent, so I'm back on the trail again, and Saturday it's going to end it. But I want you to know that my great-grandfather was from Lafourche and migrated to St. Martin, and of course had mom mom, and then, of course, here I was, born in Brobridge. And then, lo and behold, my husband got a job here in Thibodeau, and we moved here 43 years ago, and he is an architect in the area. So we have made this our home, never realizing that I'd be back home, literally. And with 3 children, 8 grandchildren, and I'm a voice for children. I have been in Lafourche for 43 years as an educator. I came through the ranks of teaching and then an assistant principal in Thibodeau to principal of St. Charles Elementary. Then I was appointed as a supervisor at the school board office in Lafourche. And 10 years ago, I was appointed as director of Bayou Community Academy Charter School, which is under the umbrella of Lafourche. And it was such a pleasure to help the community to start up the school. And since then, we've made remarkable success, as you have done here in Lafourche, and retired June 1st from education. But I want you to know how important it is with education and the Port Commissioners that we instill in our children what you're doing. And besides early childhood and working with special needs, and the list goes on for K through 12, there's an urgency within our members to have workforce development, as we see today, with our young people in our high schools that we're working very hard in South Lafourche, Central, all the way to Thibodeau, and besides the other 15 parishes and the state. So do know that there will be some increase here of engagement in our children, even at the Career Center, which I'm heading to after this. And but it's been a great experience in my latter years of education, and thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to working with you again. Come Saturday, it's going to be a win. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holloway.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
All right, next we have Mr. Craig Huzel.
I just want to tell y'all, thank you for the opportunity to come and speak before y'all and give us an audience of our entire campaign of what we've done in Lafourche. When you work with a small committee and a small group of family and friends to fulfill a dream and give a service that I believe in the last 15 years the parish has been lacking. My name is Craig Jacuzo. I am from Bayou Blue, Louisiana, not Thibodeau, Bayou Blue. I'm raised in a house between 2 cane fields. I'm one of 9 children. I have 6 sisters and 2 brothers. My parents were immigrant-based, and we worked very hard in the oil and gas industry and in the produce industry. My father raised all of us on 3 simple principles, he said. He said that a man's never truly poor until he forgets how to bend on his back and sweat on his brow. And the day you forget how to work is the day that you are now going to become a dependent on someone else. He said that in order to be a leader in this world, you have to be a person that people will follow to a place they don't go themselves. So you have to be confident in the decisions you make. And he says, when you're blessed with a business, you never drive your Cadillac to the labor barn and let another man see the money you make off his back. So with those 3 principles is what my entire career in my life has been working and trying to become the sheriff of this parish. This is my 2nd run. I ran in my early 30s in 2007, and now I'm 48. I started my bid to be sheriff of Lafourche Parish in 1989, where I graduated from Central Lafourche High School and was interviewed and spoken to by a man named Ronald Katz. We called him Major. It was the first time I met Duffy Bro, the sheriff at that time, and he looked at me and he asked me one question back then. He said, young man, did you understand yourself? Because I don't understand what you're saying, but I like you. He says, I believe you possess what people need: passion, caring, understanding, and knowing that you represent the people and they direct what needs to be done in the parish. I've carried it out in 30 years as a public servant in this parish. I respect everything that each one of you do because I understand the production and the progress of Lafourche comes from the lower Lafourche area just because of the tax base that you have. But I also know it's based on hard work. From the days of my times working in the shrimp boat, working in cane fields, and working for Cairo Produce, I always knew hard work will get you to where you're going. From there, I went to school. I worked as a public housing officer in the projects in Alydor at night from 4 in the morning to 4 in the evening. And I explain that to you for one thing. I'm currently the police chief at Nicholls State University, the university that is a 1%er. Means we are 258 out of 5,800 schools of being safe. We are the #1 institution in the state of being safe, and it becomes of partnerships, collaborations, and good police tactics, which are simple. It's what we're going to bring to the parish if I'm elected as sheriff in this place. I will make sure that we are committed. What you have seen in 28 years is the only method of policing that you know, and some of your children only know one way, so we think that is the way. But Craig Jacuzzo offers you a better way, a proven way, and a way for a new direction, and it's positive. I promise you, as I'm in your meeting today, you'll never have to see me in my office. I will come to you. I promise that the people that will work for me under my direction will be servants of the community and understand that you are our customer, and that we will wave and shake hands and understand that the problem that you are telling us in your face is the most important thing at that time. I understand that we have to be residential based, and I promise you in the South Lafourche, Central Lafourche, and North Lafourche, if the Lord blesses me with the election and I become sheriff, we will have 3 fully operational sheriff's offices here. You're not going to travel to Lockport. You're not going to travel to Thibodeau. Thibodeau's not traveling to Lockport. We're going to have patrol. We're going to have investigations. We're going to have follow-through and community outreach in the communities we serve. It's what's done in bigger areas, and it's what's done to be able to be service-oriented to the people. Those success rates have allowed me to reduce the crime rate in public housing by 80% under Sheriff Weber's administration. He can deny it, but he got a lot of grant money on it. And at Nicholls State University, our reputation is there. But the heart and beat of our parish starts here. The heart and beat is what we call the agriculture and the oil and gas industry. And we have to make it safe, we have to make it approachable, and we all play a part in that. So I will ask you, whether you early voted and you missed me, it's okay. And if you do vote on October 12th, I ask for your consideration for Craig Jacuzzo, new positive leadership. And if I don't be blessed, understand this. I'm a parish councilman for the short time being. I'm always going to be in By Blue in that house between 2 cane fields, and you always will have a friend here if you need me. Never know that you are not alone when you leave the ventures of your home. I'm a phone call away, my family and all. And just to say to the Gisclair family from the Jacuzzo family, our thoughts and prayers are going to you, and that loss that you have is going to be a void that takes time to fill. But we will continue to pray for y'all. I thank you. I thank you for your support and consideration. If y'all need anything, I do work at the university. I do live in Bayou Blue, and I have, quite frankly, in y'all area more than what y'all believe, because I love blue water fishing. Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Good job.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, moving on. Next, we have committee reports. Executive committees, Chucky Sherman, Chairman, Rodney Gisclair Sr., and John Melisson. First, we have consider approving the request from Elite Auditing to lease a portion of site GLF 319.
So on the screen, you can see the site that they would like to lease is in yellow. Elite Auditing is a consulting firm, and sometimes they need area to park. So the request is to lease that area, and recommendation is to approve.
Okay, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Curtis Pierce, second by Mr. Chris Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have consider approving equipment and vessel as surplus as advertised for bids.
As we do annually, this is a list of surplus items for 2019. You can see that list. There's several items on the list. All of them has a minimum bid, and we recommend that you approve this list, and then we'll go out to bid with it.
Okay, need a motion.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Larry Griffin, second by Mr. Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have Construction and Development Committee. Next members are, let's see here, I got Mr. Larry Griffin, Chairman, Chris Colley, Jimmy Lafourche, and Chucky Sherman. Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. President. First is consider awarding the lowest responsive bid for slip C 1,100 feet bulkhead Port 1 project.
Okay, so this project, again, is 1,100 feet, and the low bidder is Shaver's Widow Construction, LLC, with a base bid of $6,539,836. Recommendation to approve.
Okay, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Rodney Gisclair Sr., seconded by Mr. Jimmy Lafourche. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Okay, next is consider approving the substantial completion certificate from Byron E. Talbot Contractors for the Minor Jeremy Senior Road Paving Project.
As was reported earlier in the meeting, this project is complete. Recommendation to approve September 24, 2019 as date of substantial completion.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Rodney R. Gisclair, second by Mr. Larry Griffin. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Next is consider adopting resolution and approving the Airport Capital Improvement Program application.
Okay, as David reported earlier, this is our 5-year plan for capital improvements at the airport. This is a resolution and plan with LADOTD Aviation Section, and it basically says that the Port Commission would commit for the first year $623,333 for projects outlined in the capital improvement plan, and then we would have a 5-year capital improvement plan to move forward with.
Okay, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Curtis Pierce, second by Mr. John Mellison. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. President, that completes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Next, we have Finance Committee. Members are John Mellison Jr., Chairman, Rodney Gisclair Sr., Mike Cully, and Chucky Sherman. Mr. Mellison.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President. We'll begin by considering approving the payment of the September 2019 invoices and recognizing those over $10,000. Item 1, Byron E. Talbot Contractors Incorporated, $560,206.97, and that is for the completion of the minor Jeremy Road paving project. Item 2, PCO and Associates Incorporated, $205,238.31, and that is for the Airport Connector Road and Bridge, along with Slip C Phase 3, 1,100 linear feet of bulkhead, and general engineering service and permits. Item 3, Aon Risk Services Southwest, $181,461.71, and that is for ports insurance renewals. Item 4, Sea Level Construction Incorporated, $140,879.30, and that is for Slip C Phase 3 Bulkhead Part 2. Item 5, Travelers Insurance, $101,599 even, and that is for the automobile renewal policy. Item 6, Davenport and Company, $55,700.97, financial and capital planning review for port. Epic Aviation, $41,648.14, and that is for fuel resale and truck rental. Item 8, GIS Engineering, $39,886.61, and that's for continued work on the Section 203 feasibility study, along with general surveying and port map updates. Item 9, Southland Dodge, $36,052.65, and that is for the purchase of a 2019 Ram 1500 crew truck, along with repairs on other vehicles. Item 10, Angelette Piciola LLC, $30,953.62, and that is for the Fouchon Beach Maintenance, Restoration, and Protection Project, along with the minor Jeremy Road paving project, and also Fouchon Island Conceptual Development Project. Item 11, Urban Systems Incorporated, $30,100, traffic study for LA1 to the LA 3235 connector. Item 12, Bank of America, $17,546.68, port credit card charges. Item 13, Vision Communications, $16,437.67, that is for cable, internet, and phone services. Wagaspack Oil Incorporated, $15,876.38. That is for fuel for vehicles and equipment. Item 15, Grand Isle Shipyard Incorporated, $13,974.46, and that is for labor at the airport. Item 16, BBEC, $11,246.25, and that is for the debris master plan. These expenditures, along with the rest, bring us to a total of $1,946,308.40. And Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion we accept these expenditures.
Okay, got a motion by Mr. Middleton, second by Mr. Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Continuing along, next on the agenda is consider approving the 2019 September unaudited financial statements as discussed on Monday night. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion we accept these.
Okay, got a motion by Mr. John Middleton. Second by Mr. Rodney Gisclair Sr. Next, any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
And last, we have consider approving the out-of-state travel and training request. We have Director of Homeland Security and Technology, Ms. April Danos, attending the AAPA Emergency Preparations, Response, and Recovery Seminar as a speaker in Corpus Christi, Texas, November 12th and 13th. And last, we have Thad Angelos, Communications and Grant Manager, attending the Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act meetings in Washington, D.C., October 22nd through the 24th. And Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion we accept these out-of-state travel and training requests.
We got a motion by Mr. John Middleton, second by Mr. Chris Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. President, this concludes the financial report.
Thank you, Mr. Middleton. Do I have any other business? Any public comment? I will say this. Mr. Perry Gisclair will be missed. That is one thing I have to say. No matter what, putting out fires in the afternoon about him discussing everything in the morning to stir up stuff, everybody knew he loved that, and he loved to travel. So, but I want to tell the family he did a great job over here. He's a very good friend that will be missed. And we will miss him. Well, thanks, his brother, Mr. Rodney, for coming, taking his place. But that's all I have to say on this. Mr. Gisclair Perry will be missed. Thank you. Any other business? Go ahead, Mr. Colley.
I just would like to say I have big shoes to fill as taking over as secretary from him, and but like I said, I will try to do what he would have done.
All right. Any other business? Public comment? All right. Motion by Mr. Jimmy Lafourche to adjourn, second by Mr. Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Meeting over. Thank everyone for coming to our meetings. Y'all come back. We enjoy having y'all.